Hi, my name is Anirudh and welcome to Masterlife. In this video, we're going to give you a framework for staying fit, but for life. Okay. The first step towards you actually staying fit starts with your big why. Why do you want to stay fit? Okay. And it has to be tied very close to your identity. I think if you see most people that have stayed fit for life, they identify as athletes. I've always been an athlete. I'm someone who's always been fit. Right? So you have to kind of create your big why. I'm someone who wants to get old, but also be able to play with my grandkids, right? I'm someone who wants to look young for a while. It makes me feel confident, right? It makes me feel sexy. So you got to have your big why in place. Once your big why is in place, the next step is to create goals, but for life. Okay. I think one of the mistakes that we make is, I'm going to lose 4 kgs this year, or you say I want to be 10% body fat by the end of this year, right? And I think these are interesting goals to have in the short run, but if you want to convert them for habits for life, you have to do things that are oddly consistent. So I want, as much as you can have short-term goals, it's important for you to have long-term goals saying, I want to make sure I work out at least 6 days a week. Or you say something like, I want to make sure I go for a workout every day in the morning. Okay, something, but that's for life. Once you've created these goals, the next step for you is to create fitness a priority or make fitness a priority, right? Like, let's look at your different facets of life. You have relationships, you have work, you have fitness, and then let's say there's fun. Okay, in these 4 things, right? Think about how you prioritize things. Like I prioritize my work, I prioritize my relationships, and then maybe I prioritize my fitness. So as a result, sometimes maybe for some of you, you may be prioritizing fitness at the end. So if you don't fundamentally think fitness is your number one priority, then it shows in the number of times you actually actively work out on a weekly basis, right? So you kind of have to have your fitness as your number one priority. Jocko Willink, one of the guys who wrote the book Extreme Ownership, he talks about like anything he wants to do long term, he does it the first thing in the morning. So fitness is one of the first things you should try to ideally do in the morning. Okay. So once you've made fitness a priority, next is you got to figure out at what time of the day do you want to do this. Are you someone who wants to do it at 6 a.m.? Are you someone who can figure a way to do it at 12 p.m. or at 7 p.m.? And try to be oddly consistent about it. Once you've figured out the schedule, you want to put it on the calendar. Like I have a calendar invite and I try to be as disciplined about it as possible. But imagine there's a calendar invite that shows every day, Ani, you got to work out at 7:30 in the morning. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Tuesdays is basketball. Thursdays is squash. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is, let's say, yoga. And I try to be as consistent as possible. Obviously, there are days which are difficult. Okay, but I'm scheduling it in my calendar. Okay, once I've scheduled it, you want to figure out what's your workout. Right? I think sometimes there's a need to say, oh, I have to hit the gym or I have to do CrossFit. You should do what you enjoy as let's say a lifestyle that you can do for life. I realized like I would try to go to the gym for let's say 3 or 4 weeks and I get really bored. But the thing that I've been really consistent about is most sports that are competitive. I'm consistent about, let's say, table tennis. I'm consistent about basketball or squash, right? Things that I thoroughly enjoy, which is in the moment, and there's accountability associated with it. Okay, so identify that. Once you've identified the sport, the next thing that you want to do is reduce the friction towards that activity, right? So if I have basketball or yoga in the morning, you want to keep your clothes close to your bed before you sleep, right? You ideally want to pick a location where you're going to work out, which is not very far from where you are. Right? If it's lesser than a kilometer, the likelihood of you going there is higher versus if you booked a place which is 20 kilometers or even 10 kilometers away from you, you're going to be like, the first thing in the morning you're going to think about is, I don't want to go, right? So you want to reduce the friction as much as possible. And then finally, once you've reduced the friction, start measuring at the end of the week, how often did you go, right? Let's say you're allotted 5 days to go and you did it only 3 times, figure out why you couldn't go. Right? And then if you measure that week over week, that loop of you going from reducing friction, identifying the sport, identifying the time at which you're going, and then trying to do it week over week will increase the probability of you doing it. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. Check out the worksheets for the entire flow. Thanks.